One of the hardest things to do when you're suffering with chronic pain is to do a lot less. In fact, doing nothing at all. I know, Nate, that sounds crazy. I know. Just hang with me. I want you to know that by doing a lot less could actually be the catalyst to help you heal that much faster. It actually helped me during my 10-year stint of chronic pain and has also served thousands of clients over the last 20 years. This one thing can really be the thing that could help you heal your chronic pain. So I'd love to demonstrate this by a client I had last year that really points to this. Now, this client suffered from tremendous pain. They had digestive pain, they had autoimmune Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and even cancer. And with that, the biggest problem was they could not stop bleeding. They had been to the hospital, the doctors had tried all the medications they could to try to stop them from bleeding. Nothing worked. So as you probably know, like the next step, if that doesn't work, is to go into surgery. And they were going to remove quite a bit of this person's colon. And they weren't ready to give that up. And so somehow they found me through a referral. They contacted me and they were like, "Can you help me?" And I said, "Well, let's have a look." And so we scheduled a complete health assessment that I do with all my initial clients. If you're interested, it's in the description below. That is a classical Chinese medicine differential diagnosis where I look at the tongue, I look at the face, I hear the signs and symptoms, and together we put together a picture that gives you a very clear path of healing. So in this diagnosis, which was very interesting, what we found was that it actually wasn't the intestines that was the problem. The problem, or the root cause of this problem, was in the liver and the lungs. Yeah, I know, that sounds crazy if you're not familiar with classical Chinese medicine or other kind of traditional forms of medicine. The concept is it's more of a relationship. So when we're having, like in this individual's case, the liver, because of stress, because of their lifestyle, it was so constrained and so bunchy, I call it, that what it was doing was it was causing the tissues and the whole blood flow and we say qi flow to the rest of the digestive system. It was like literally like beating up the intestines, right? So there wasn't any room for the intestines to do anything they needed to do. So there's a hint there for you. Secondly, the lungs were filled with this emotion of grief because there was such a loss of a family member that grief had not fully been processed through their system. Now, you might be saying this like, how does that cause digestive pain and cancer? Well, if you've been following my channel, you know, but if you're new to the channel, know that your thoughts and your emotions live in your tissues, they live in your organs, and these messages have profound effect on your health and wellness. So, getting back to this individual, they were a business owner and they had very demanding clients that needed their time all the time, and they felt like they couldn't not give them that time. They needed to always be available. So you can kind of see there was this constant doing, always be on call, always texting, always this, right? So the first thing we had to do was convey to them, you know, like, you're not available, right? And she had a hard time struggling with that because there was a lot of self-worth issues, not valuing herself as much as she could. This, on top of the grief she'd been carrying, created this perfect storm in her intestines. So through a little bit of mentoring, getting through those unconscious beliefs they've been carrying, about this loss in their life and not feeling worthy enough to make time for themselves because it was quote unquote selfish, right? We're able to actually requalify that thought and repurpose a new message in there that targets how does it feel to have space for yourself, time for yourself. At first it was very uncomfortable. A lot of issues came up, a lot of doubt, uncertainty, but gradually we started to make it what we called a daily Sabbath for them, where they could make time for not just their body, but their connection with their Maker. They would read scripture, they would pray, they would meditate, mostly be with themselves in nature. And this was a profound catalyst. Now, mind you, I gave some dietary prescriptions, I gave some lifestyle changes, but the big one was doing a whole lot less. And you know what happened? At first, that stress response that we all have was just, overplayed so many times that it was habituated. So it took some time to calm that down. But in a short period of time, they were able to. And what started happening was their anxiety started to go away. Their stress that they carry in their body started to lessen. And as you can imagine, as those things started to change, then the inflammation markers started to go down. And then guess what? The bleeding stopped. The bleeding stopped because they stopped. They stopped doing so much, constantly doing, and made space. See, the thing here that I want you to know is that your attention is so powerful. Where you place your attention can determine if you're having a healing moment or a harmful moment. As with all things in mind-body medicine and in classical Chinese medicine, we see the power of the intention, and when we can place it back in the body, in a place of rest, in a place where it's not constantly stressing out, but is actually just here, like I am with you in this moment. This is where the healing happens. This is where the medicine that I say you are lives. And the more we create time and space and do a whole lot less, the more we can heal faster. By the way, along with my complete health assessment, I also have a group coaching mentorship that I do called Be Love Heal. It's in the description below, but that's where I actually help walk you through, like I did for this client, to release some of these unconscious beliefs and help your body and your mind work together towards not just healing, but getting the optimal health and wellness that you need in your life, and ultimately out of pain. So make sure, if you haven't already, grab the free masterclass below. That's on You Are the Medicine and how to say goodbye to your chronic pain. It's a great longer lecture about this. So make sure you grab your notebook and take notes on that one. Make sure you get it below. And then if you haven't, take a look at this video. This tells a little bit more about my story, about how I healed my fibromyalgia, my chronic pain, and chronic fatigue with this one thing. So you don't want to miss out on that. Thank you all. If you got value from this, if you're resonating with this, go ahead and like, subscribe to the channel, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you so much. Have a blessed rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video.